So we are now on to the question of public forum, and could I invite Kirsty Brennan to come forward with the following students from Ilam School: Zachary Brett, Medha Badkar, Anya Fang and Kan Lee, who are all students of Ilam School, and their teacher Nigel Marsh, regarding nature agents and EOS ecology program. We've been really looking forward to this submission, so thank you very much for coming in.
Good morning. Thank you so much for having us here.
If the others from Ireland School would like to come forward and gather around and stand behind, they're perfectly welcome to do that. If that would be a nice way of supporting your colleagues. Let's give them a round of applause as they come forward. The reason that I suggested a round of applause to bring you forward is just to encourage everyone out there to know that this is how you are able to make a presentation to a council, and you are so welcome, and thank you very much for doing this. Over to you.
Thanks so much for having us here today. My name's Kirsty. I'm from EOS Ecology, and I'm here to introduce Nature Agents, the program, one of our programs, but especially here to introduce these lovely Ilam School students today. Christchurch Nature Agents are changing attitudes and behaviours of their communities towards their local freshwater environments, and they're doing that through effective participation in science. We know that there is a gap that exists in schools and science learning, and what we want to do is to close that gap, and that's through an effective approach. So this is EOS Ecology's approach to science engagement, where we want to achieve positive action and long-lasting impact. And to do this, we have science at the basis of everything. We try and make the delivery and the topics really captivating to the audience, and we definitely like to collaborate with others. And we want to make sure everything that we do is appropriate for the end user, for the students. Nature Agents is one of our programs, and it's been running for the last 18 months in Christchurch and Banks Peninsula. And it aims to increase awareness and understanding of local freshwater science, of local freshwater environments. And we do this through getting kids in the streams themselves to understand what it is in the streams, how to collect information, and then how to report on it. So the students are collecting really valuable information. And Nature Agents is a package deal, and the package keeps growing as we're getting excited and getting lovely students to help us to increase what we want to be doing. And that includes an equipment kit for the schools to keep, resources, field training in their local stream with the scientists from EOS Ecology. So Nature Agents provides students with scientific skills, understanding of methods, robust data collection, and they're able to use their critical thinking ability and an evidence-based approach to communicate and share with others like they are today. Across Christchurch at the moment, there's 13 Nature Agent schools, and each have a site, and there will be more by the end of this year and the next 2 years. So I'm going to pass over to these lovely students to talk about their experiences in their local river.
Kia ora koutou. Our names are Zach, Medha, and Anya. New Zealand's #1 problem, according to a Colmar Bruton poll in January, is water pollution. We have decided to do something about this. To add, Jacinda Ardern's government introduced just last Thursday some long-term water management policies. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to present to you today. We are loving our learning and are very excited to share with you.
We will kick off our presentation by telling you our story. We will then let you know how it has benefited our learning. In conclusion, we will share with you what our intended long-term vision is.
The 2018 class of Room 1 came up with the idea of cleaning up a 600-metre stretch of the Avon River. Slightly later in the year, Room 1 went on a fishing trip to the Groins. Everybody in the class that year loved it, and 5 people caught fish. Wow. Later that day, we completed a Council 1 program called Freshwater Frolicking. We learned quite a bit about invertebrates.
The next year, the 2019 class of Room 1 did a river training session with Kirsty and her team for nature agents, where we learned how to take measurements such as pH,
Velocity,
and water clarity. That led to our other cleanup early 2019 with the Student Volunteer Army collaborating with us. We split into 2 groups, each cleaning up a 300-metre stretch of the Avon and then meeting in the middle. We found anything from alcohol bottles to socks. A few weeks after that, we did bacteria study with Brigitte, where we studied E. coli and the health of the river. We also filtered the river water so Brigitte could examine them back at the University of Canterbury.
A month later, the river team took the first official measurements of the Avon River. We did all the measurements that they did in their training session.
After the official measurements, we went to Taylor's Mistake on another Council One program, the Rocky Shore Trip. It was really fun, and we learned a lot about the tides and the sea creatures in the rock pools. We saw shrimp, sea anemones, starfish, and even a pair of crabs.
In June, we had a class open night where our families came and we shared our story with them. We also had quizzes, including a river one.
Recently, we presented our story to the Ilam School Board, as well as to the Christchurch West Melton Water Management Zone Committee.
Yesterday, we really enjoyed coming together with 3 other schools who have also been learning from Kirsty. We had a river cleanup in the morning, and then we had a celebration at the Botanical Gardens in the afternoon. The event was well supported by the Council and Environment Canterbury.
Our learnings. Over this course of time, we learned a variety of skills and topics. For example, in math, we learned how to take averages. In science, we learned about water clarity. In microbiology, we learned about E. coli. Our teamwork as a class developed drastically when we are in the project of our process. We learned how to care for our river, and we made signs that are plotted around the river bank. We collaborated with the Student Volunteer Army. They have been great supporters for our river cleanups.
Next steps. We want to team up with the Heathcote Avon Ihua S3 Trust and along with other schools involved in nature agents. Become fully immersed in Mother of All cleanups in May 2020. We also want to measure and test our river and provide useful data to nature agents. Hopefully this data will be used to implement policies and procedures around waterway usage.
Outcomes. Number 1, for children to be able to swim in the Avon River. And number 2, we want to be part of the solution in cleaning up New Zealand's waterways.
Any questions?
Right. Aaron.
One simple one, really. Should every river be swimmable?
Yes, definitely.
I love the fact that you were working with the Student Volunteer Army. You know, how did you find being able to work with young people who were a little bit older than you to work collaboratively on a project? Did that really help you achieve your goals?
Yes, they were very good supporters.
And what was special about it? I don't want to ask you a closed question. I want to ask you an open question so that you can say more than yes or no.
Well, the good thing about it is we learned a lot from collaborating with people that are slightly older than us. Well, not really slightly, but still. Yeah.
And you said that this helped you with some of your subjects at school, like science and math, you know, and I was really interested in that because sometimes you can learn things more easily when you've got a practical example of how they work. I mean, I don't know, I find learning much easier when I've got a practical example of what it means rather than sitting in a classroom sort of learning out how to work out averages, for example. How, did you find that was an easier way? Sorry, I've asked you a yes or no question. What was particularly good about using practical examples as a way of learning these other subjects? And did you know that you were going to be learning other subjects by looking at the rivers?
Well, we found that out when our teacher told us that when we had to learn about averages, it's much more fun than just having paper and work in front of you because you have other people around you and you can learn outside, not in the classroom all the time.
Yeah, it's much more fun when you're out there doing stuff.
Yeah. Anne?
It's fantastic that you're here, and we really appreciate the efforts that you're making. Have you changed your behaviours in terms of looking after the environment because of what you've learned? In what ways?
I think like the entire class has learned something over the year 6s have definitely learned something over the 2 years that they've done this, and the year 5s are definitely learning.
Have you found that you've been able to talk to the adults in your life about changing their views of things? Has it affected them as well? Yeah, in what ways? Yeah.
Yeah.
We also did this thing where we were going to start a little trap around our school, which is to collect rubbish from the stormwater drains.
Great.
Stopping rubbish going into the stormwater drains.
Yeah.
Fantastic. So you see the connection between what goes through the drains and into the river. You've found that connection. Great.
Did you know that before?
No.
No. That's great, because I think the more people that understand that what goes into the gutters and into the stormwater drain ends up in our rivers. It's great. Yanni, last question.
Thank you so much for what you're doing, and of course to EOS as well. You talked about a number of groups that you'd made presentations to. I just wanted to ask if there's anyone else that you wanted to talk to or send a message to about what you've discovered about our waterways. Who would it be, and what would you say?
Probably the government. That would be fun.
Jacinda.
So are you going to make submissions on the freshwater proposals that have come out? Great.
Probably.
Awesome.
Well, I mean, one of the things that perhaps you could do is, because we're going to be hearing a petition, you might have heard that very soon, is to petition Parliament, get the people over 18 that you know. So maybe the Student Volunteer Army will have some of those, and your families, and get some signatures together on a petition, and then go and present your petition to Parliament. I think that would be. That sounds like a great idea. Look, can I thank you very, very much for you give each other a high five. I think that's a great idea. Thank you very much for your presentation. It's been a very powerful way to start our council meeting today. Thank you to Ilam School, and thank you to EOS. We really appreciate what it is that you're doing to help our young people become the influencers that they're actually already becoming and others in their lives to make a difference to our waterways. So thank you very, very much.
It's great they seem to have been in every council program.
So Teresa Cadell, around Be Aware Month. I'm sorry this is going to be a hard act to follow, but I know that you've got...
Can I stand up, or do I need to sit down?
No, you can sit down.
I don't really want to sit down.
Oh, no, whatever makes you feel comfortable. If you want to stand, you can stand. If you want to sit, you can sit. So.
Wow, those guys are so confident.
Isn't it great? You know,
awesome.
We have great hope for the future when we see something like that. But no, look, what you're coming to talk about is really important as well. So.
I do have a book for each of the councillors if somebody could hand that out.
Yes.
And can I just get started?
Yes, yep. Please.
Basically. Hello, everybody. I'm Teresa Cadell, and I currently live in Templeton. I moved from Burwood when my house was red zoned. So Unaccustomed as I am to public speaking, as you can tell, because I'm shaking, I really wanted to come here today to tell you, if you didn't know, that September is Be Aware Month. Did anybody know?
Vicky did.
Not many people. Who knew?
Vicky, Sarah and Anne probably.
All right, so Be Aware Month is September every year, so it's not just new, and it's organised by Apiculture New Zealand, and it's a month fully dedicated to celebrating bees and how important they are to our survival. I don't know if you know that we wouldn't be here for many years if we had no bees. Some people say as few as 4 years, because they pollinate about a third of our crops. And so children, of course, are our future. And I'm about to launch a children's book at the weekend, which has been totally produced and printed here in Christchurch, not overseas.
Okay.
And against advice, I might add. Ignorance is bliss, isn't it? Yep, I did it my way. So it's Gwendolyn Bear and the Honeybees, which you all should have a copy of now. And I'm sorry, I didn't realise I could have brought slides, or I could have brought my illustrations for everybody else to see. I don't know if you have a magic machine that can scan though. No, okay. So never mind. Gwendolyn Bear and the Honeybees is a sun bear who loves honey but has no money. She used to live in Borneo, in case you're wondering what she's doing here. She sets off in search of honey, and on her adventure she learns that we need to help the bees if they're to survive. So I'm donating 50 cents from the sale of each book to Trees for Bees, and they're a not-for-profit organisation which provides education on everything to do with bees, but particularly around what we need to feed the bees, what plants we need to grow. So the reason I am here at your meeting is because basically, although September is Be Aware Month, nobody seems to know about it. I'm wandering around talking to people and saying, what, you know. So I know you have really important things to talk about here today, but the bees are really important too, because we won't have any pools or libraries or anything if we don't have any food and we all die. So yesterday I did hear that a library here is doing something about around Be Aware Month, and I was fortunate to talk to a couple of ladies here this morning, so that was a good contact for them too. I've given them a book and they can take that back. So it would be wonderful to let people know that September is Be Aware Month, and we can all help protect the bees by planting bee-friendly flowers, vegetables, herbs, wildflowers. Even if we don't have a garden, we can stick something in a pot. My editor, Sarah O'Malley, tells me that in Ireland, some councils are planting beds of wildflowers in bits of land that the council own, and they require very little upkeep because you just chuck some seeds around and they kind of grow. We can put shallow dishes with some water in our backyards for them to drink instead of heading for swimming pools and ponds and getting drowned, because bees are very bad at swimming, but they're really good at drowning. And we can also use safe pesticides or avoid them altogether where we can, as this can kill bees or it can damage their immune system. So we often say, well, those pesticides, they're not too bad, but that doesn't mean they're not harming the bees and making them less healthy. So I respectfully ask each of you as council members to support the bees by letting people know how important they are, and also perhaps through social media, and letting people know that September is Be Aware Month, and everybody here could help me out there too, and that we need to celebrate these industrious little creatures and provide a safe environment for them to live in, and lots of yummy flowers to feed on, because we need them and they need us. You are also most welcome to join us on Sunday to celebrate Be Aware Month and the launch of Gwendolyn Bear and the Honeybees. I have got some invitations which I can leave somewhere out there. Anybody's welcome. Anybody. RSVPs would be welcome too, because we're making like rice bubble cake and stuff, and we need to know we've got enough honey food for all the people who are coming. Now, I don't know how many minutes I've taken.
That is 5 minutes.
That is
so-
5 minutes. Okay,
Yeah.
right.
But that's perfect to end on an invitation to your launch on Sunday. Would you like to say what time it is? You're being live
Yeah.
streamed, so you might as well, and whereabouts.
Okay, so it's it's from 2 to 4, Sunday afternoon. Children most welcome. We are having balloons, but they are eco-friendly, and I've thoroughly researched that after somebody complaining. Number 2, Bangor Street, Bangor. That is opposite Little Poms and Pomeroy's restaurant.
Yep.
So it's a really big place, so it doesn't matter if a few people turn up or hundreds, we can fit you all in. And I thank the council and everybody else for your patience while I've presented.
That's
Thank
lovely.
you.
Thank you very much.